Alright, so no offense to Toby, Andrew, or Tom, but you boys can all sit down and fight over second place, because the first place spot for Best Live Action Peter Parker is reserved for my man, Nicholas Hammond, star of the short-lived 1977 live-action Spider-Man TV series. It shined bright, but it was cancelled by CBS because they were already producing the Lou Ferrigno Hulk show and didn't want to develop a reputation for making superhero shows. We are not the CW, they said. But in the short time it was with us, it left us with this absolute gem of a feature-length made-for-TV movie pilot. Well, secondary pilot. There were two of them, but this one is better. I would even go so far as to say that this is the second best superhero movie of all time, after Superman 4: The Quest for Peace.
Am I the only one who understands the complexities of this ambitious cinematic masterpiece?
So it starts off with our boy stopping a girl from jumping off a building.
Here you are, Captain. Special delivery.
And the news of this incident makes it all the way to Miami, where we meet our main female lead, a reporter named Gail Hoffman. Ooh, Joanna Cameron. Can you tell she played a literal goddess in another show? I mean, I know you see her. Her boss at the Miami newspaper office gives her an assignment to go to New York to do a story on this Spider-Man guy, and hooks her up with a contact at the Daily Bugle.
Peter Parker.
That's the one.
Meanwhile, Peter is at university. I cannot relate.
I didn't go to college.
The professor is giving a lesson about plutonium or something. The main thing is that the university just so happens to be in possession of a small sample of plutonium to use for, like, demonstrations or whatever in the plutonium lessons. Peter and some other students raise issue with this. You can't just have a sample of uranium lying around, because somebody with enough resources and knowledge in nuclear physics could steal it and use it to build an atomic bomb.
I was analyzing our lie, and I believe we're in danger of Penny seeing through the ruse.
How?
Simple. If she were to log on to www.socalphysicsgroup.org/activities/other, click on upcoming events, scroll down to seminars, download the PDF schedule, and look for the seminar on molecular positronium, well then, bippity-boppity-boo, our pants are metaphorically on fire.
Hey, it's 1977. The Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement are over. We gotta protest something. So some of these other students cook up a plan to steal the uranium to show the university the folly of their ways. While Peter's at work, Gail shows up at the Daily Bugle office, and who can blame him? Peter is immediately smitten by her.
Mr. Jameson. Mr. Parker. How nice to meet you. I have been looking forward to this.
I need breast milk!
Hey, yo, what the fuck? Yeah, he's lost, man. He don't know what the fuck to do. I could tell.
They go to get coffee, and she's asking him questions about Spider-Man, and this is the start of her suspicions. Yeah, she's totally onto him about being Spider-Man, or at least about being in cahoots with Spider-Man. But then suddenly his spider sense alerts him that those other students are stealing the plutonium. By the way, this show is not safe for epileptics and people with photosensitivity, because when it does the spider sense effect, it'll have them tweaking. So Peter goes and suits up as Spider-Man, but he's too late. They get away with the plutonium. The next day, the plutonium bandits are reading about the theft in the newspaper, and they're unsatisfied with how little publicity it got. It was a bigger disappointment than Dove Cameron. I loved her as Mal in Disney's Descendants, so I decided to check out some of her music. Well, I still loved her as Mal in Disney's Descendants, so they decide that since stealing the plutonium wasn't enough, they'll actually have to build a bomb with it to get their point across. These guys are so stupid, man. I would have just taken the L and threw the plutonium back over the university fence. That way the university could get their plutonium back, and they couldn't trace the theft back to me. See, I'm smart like that. Now we meet our villain, this guy, Mr. White. Yes, sir, this is the same thing with the Hulk show. There are none of the recognizable supervillains from the comics. You're getting generic TV gangsters, and you're gonna like it.
Who the hell is interrupting my kung fu?
They read about the stolen plutonium in the paper and immediately get to work. They cannot pass this opportunity up. The black market's gonna pay out big for a piece of raw plutonium. So the gangsters and the police are both investigating who could have done it, and they both come to the conclusion that Peter Parker is the only student at the university who would actually be smart enough to build an atomic bomb with the stolen plutonium. And honestly, I don't blame them for not suspecting these fucking dinguses of being all that bright. Well, I mean, technically they do pull it off. They finish building the bomb, and then old girl passes out on account of the radiation poisoning.
Well, if it isn't the consequences of my own actions.
The police come to question Peter, but Gail vouches for him, saying his alibi is that he was with her last night.
On the couch, Captain.
Let them think what they're gonna think. You're decreasing your own aura, bro. Later, Peter gets a call that one of his classmates is in the hospital with radiation poisoning and realizes it was them what stole the plutonium. So at the hospital, he starts pressing the other two guys, and one of Mr. White's henchmen is over here eavesdropping, listening to them talk about how they left the bomb behind at the apartment. So Peter starts to leave so he can go retrieve that bomb, but then Gale shows up talking about interviewing Spider-Man, and Peter just can't deal with this right now. So he decides he's gonna pull a total flake move on her, head into the men's room and bail out the window. Now he makes his way to the apartment to get the bomb.
Swinging through your town like your neighborhood Spider-Man.
But Mr. White and his henchmen get there first. When Spidey finally does get there, he sees that the New York license plate on Mr. White's car is a fake and that he's actually repping West Coast. So he plants a spider tracer on there. Then he sees one of those thugs, those hooligans up on the roof and decides it's time to go up there and put some boots to ass. This dude tries to punch Spidey, but he just weaves, kicks, right hook, runs behind this thing, but he just grabs this bar and hits him with this pendulum kick. Then dude tries to jump kick Spidey from up on the stairs, misses, equips a melee weapon and starts swinging, but Spidey's just too smooth, he can't get a hit in. But he finally lands a lucky shot with this roundhouse kick to Spidey's face. But Spidey just said, "You got one good hit in, but you ain't getting two." Rolls over this thing, breaks his weapon in half, twists his arm so he drops the other half, and literally kicks his ass, sending him rolling. But then the other henchman sneaks up behind Spider-Man, locking him in a bear hug. Then he holds my goat over his head and tosses him off the roof like Thunderlips tossing Rocky out of the ring in Rocky 3. But dude, come on. It's Spider-Man. He catches himself with the web, but the thing he uses to track his spider tracers falls out and breaks, so that's a setback. We cut to the police station, and these two have been put in stir. Don't free my boy, he ain't innocent. Peter is pressing them about the bomb they built, and dude over here is just spilling all the beans, talking straight facts. He was sounding like Jeffrey Sachs, he was spitting so much facts.
You can be democratic at home and ruthlessly imperial abroad. The most violent country in the world since 1950 has been the United States. It's been by far involved
Jeffrey,
in more,
stop
wait a
now.
minute, in more
Let's
wars.
Jeffrey, I'm your moderator, and it's enough.
Okay, I'm done.
So now there's a fully functional atom bomb out there in the hands of some random criminals. It's a very dramatic situation. Now, Peter can't track the spider tracer he put on Mr. White's car because his thingy broke. But he did get a look at the license plate. And it was established earlier that Rita, the secretary at the Daily Bugle, has friends in low places.
And he has some very important friends that could make it very difficult for you to get another job.
Oh, yeah? Well, I got some friends, too, that could make it very difficult for him to keep the tires on his rolls, if you know what I mean.
So he has her use her connections to look up the license plate number and find out the address it belongs to. So now he knows the bomb has been taken to Los Angeles. And over in LA, Mr. White is talking about how having a working atom bomb is way better than having a piece of raw plutonium to sell on the black market. He starts getting big ideas about all the possibilities that are open to him. He's like a Make-A-Wish kid gone mad with power.
The Make-A-Wish Foundation, you know them for all the charitable work they've done over the years, is expected to file for bankruptcy, all due to the financial strain caused by one little child's wish for unlimited wishes. So, Dean, what have you thought of to do to fight this situation?
Well, we had gotten a pro bono legal team, and of course, Chad found out about it, and guess what? He wished away our legal team. It's very
got all
clever.
the bases covered.
Yeah. Every day I go in there, and it's more outrageous than the day before.
Peter needs to get to LA to get that bomb, and he manages to convince Jameson to fund the trip, but he insists on coming along.
Why do you think I trust you 3,000 miles away with my expense account?
By the way, this show is like Jessie, in that it takes place in New York, but it was filmed in Los Angeles. So when they did their Going to Hollywood episode, it was just a matter of filming outside.
I don't know if you guys remember the last episode of Jessie where she went to LA. That was the only time we ever filmed like really outside when we were on the golf carts. That was actually where we filmed the TV show at. So it was our real, outside of our real soundstage, that's where we filmed.
They're sitting by the pool, you know, chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool. And Peter slips away to go up to the roof here. He's got himself a new spider tracer tracker thingy. I don't know, I guess he had a spare. Just when he starts to zero in on Mr. White's location, Gale follows him up to the roof, and she is done beating around the bush. She straight up asks him if he's Spider-Man.
Peter, tell me something truthfully. Are you Spider-Man?
She put him right on the spot. He's got no time to think up a good lie, so he says that he's not Spider-Man, but admits that he is working with Spider-Man. Meanwhile, we find out that Mr. White's plan is to use the bomb to ransom the US government for $1 billion or he'll detonate it in the city. So Peter, Gale, and Jameson are out here driving around LA, following the tracker device. Then they see Mr. White's henchmen and try to chase them down. But the henchman's car is tricked out with anti-pursuit countermeasures. They drop these spiky things on the road and just fucking annihilate the tires on the car Peter was driving. But the stakes are too high to just give up on the chase, so Peter and Gale commandeer some motorbikes and chase them into this Old West movie set. Peter actually managed to get there ahead of her, so he has time to change into his Spider-Man costume without her seeing. So now these boys are about to have themselves a showdown at high noon. This guy tries to come at Spidey with the karate, but he misses 2 kicks. He tries to punch, but Spidey just dodges that, and he ends up just destroying this support pillar, which might make it seem like he's really strong, but remember, this is a movie set, so that pillar was probably made of styrofoam or something. The second guy tries to come at Spidey, but he just gets punched in the gut and booted through the window. The first guy pulls out some nunchucks and starts brandishing them around, and actually has Spidey thinking he might need to take a different approach. Jumps up onto the balcony and then gets up onto the roof and goes around to the other side. Makes the guy have to chase after him if he wants the smoke, and that's when he gets him, slamming him in the face when he turns the corner up these stairs here. Then get this, he shuts the door and comes out the other door here. This is Scooby-Doo tactics. But they start piecing each other up, and the guy actually manages to get another lucky kick on Spider-Man's face. Knocks him back onto this post here. Then he brings the nunchucks back out, but Spidey's just too smooth. He can't get a hit in. Spider-Man literally decides this guy isn't worth his time mid-fight. Just hops off the post, leaves him with a kick to the face to make them even, and dips. Now Spidey's out here trying to find out where the other guy's at, but Mr. Nunchucks here isn't done. He still wants the smoke. But bro is standing in the wrong spot, because my goat just presses R2 to initiate that environmental interaction, and it's over. Then he hears Gale screaming. The other henchman has her cornered in this barn, so he jumps up through the loft and knocks the guy off of her. And just look at the pose he hits as he does it. He's totally trying way too hard to look cool for her. Not gonna lie, that's probably just me hating. They bail out of there, and so do the henchmen, trying to hit Spidey with the car on their way out. Then J. Jonah Jameson shows up on the little go-kart thing he was chasing after them on. He meets up with Gale, and then Peter shows up, having just missed getting to see Spider-Man. When the henchmen go back to Mr. White's crib and tell him they got their asses kicked by Spider-Man, he says it doesn't matter because they still have the bomb and they're still going to go through with their plan. So back at the hotel, Jameson is calling Rita at the Bugle to get updates about the whole situation.
If the government doesn't agree to his demands by 6 p.m. New York time tomorrow, he says he'll explode the bomb where it'll do the most damage.
What? Well, that has to mean Manhattan. Here I am in Los Angeles acting like some fool tourist, and everything's happening in New York. I'll get the first plane out of here I can, Rita.
Now, I don't know about you, but if I were under the impression that a particular city was going to be nuked in the near future, I would not feel compelled to go to that particular city. But that's just me. Peter and Gale are still trying to track down that bomb, and the last clue they have to go on is going to this recording studio that Mr. White owns and hoping they can find him there. But the lady at the front desk snitches on them and calls the henchmen while they're waiting to have their meeting. Then she leads Peter away and Gale gets kidnapped by the henchmen. But Dove Cameron was recording her next single in there, so she probably didn't mind being taken away from that.
Why did you do this to me?
Peter's spider sense alerts him to the kidnapping, but he's too late to stop it. He goes back to the front desk lady, and he is not fucking around. He presses her to tell him what Mr. White's address is. He is bringing the smoke to the man's home. So the henchmen bring Gale to meet Mr. White. Oh no, why they gotta do my girl like that? Having her be all objectified and shit. Up until this point, she was our resident representative of second-wave feminism.
You are the stubbornest woman.
I like to call it persistence.
Now you wait here.
And it just sucks to see her brought low by this old man's perversions. Anyway, he reveals that his target isn't New York, it's Los Angeles. And the reason why is because there's a big political event being held in Los Angeles, and the president's gonna be there, and a whole bunch of bigwig political figures are also gonna be there. Just the type of thing to sweeten up the ransom demands. But then my goat pulls up, ready for the smoke. And Nunchuck Guy actually manages to land his cleanest hit so far, catching him with that sweet flying karate kick and sending him on a little trip. Spidey manages to hit a clean recovery before losing too much aura. But I gotta say, Spidey, this cannot stand. He took that first hit award from you. He made you lose a bit of aura. He's getting too big for his britches. He's thinking, oh yeah, round 3's gonna be the one. You gotta remind him of his place. Get in there. The guy comes in for seconds, but Spidey's just too smooth. He can't get a hit in. He tries to hit Spidey with this karate chop, but just ends up breaking the glass patio table instead. Then Spidey feeds him a biscuit, sending him flying into this statue. But this man has already had a sample of what holding it down feels like, and he's determined not to go back to looking like a scrub. So he starts boxing, and he starts going in, pushing Spidey back, and then tries to hit him with some roundhouse kicks, but just takes out these potted plants instead. He equips a melee weapon again, and starts going in with that, and Spidey doesn't even give this man the respect of fighting him to the finish. He just ties his hands to this post and dips. So the other guy is over here with Gale, and now Spidey drops in on him. Then he leads him over here by the pool, and then they just start engaging in this contest of sheer raw strength. And just when the big guy looks like he's starting to outflex Spider-Man, he just gets tossed into the pool. Yeah, real funny until you realize you're gonna owe him a new smartphone, or who knows, he might have had one of those newer models with the unremovable AI features, in which case you probably did him a favor. Now he's all wrapped up in this cute little net, and Gale fills Spider-Man in about the situation with the bomb. And while I don't agree with making her wear the bikini like this in these circumstances, I must say, respectfully, that those are some immaculately sculpted shoulders and abdomen. Respectfully. So now the big political event is getting started, and Mr. White is starting the countdown for the bomb. Now that Spider-Man knows the general vicinity of the bomb, he tries to get this helicopter pilot to fly him over there. Oh look, a boom mic. I'm having a great time. And this is where we get to the most goated part of this movie, or episode, or whatever it is. Spidey jumps out of the helicopter and shoots a web at Mr. White's helicopter, hitching himself a ride. And before you say anything about how cheesy this looks, let me ask you, was Tobey Maguire or his stunt double ever in any actual real danger when they were filming their web-swinging scenes? Were Andrew Garfield and his stunt double? Or Tom Holland and his? No, none of them were, I don't think. But this guy here is actually dangling from a helicopter hundreds of feet above the streets of Los Angeles. This is some Jackie Chan or Tom Cruise levels of death-defying daring devotion to the craft.
That's what I'm talking about! That's why he's the MVP! That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Spidey lands on the building where they planted the bomb, but he's too late. It explodes. He dies, thousands die. You know I'm kidding. He deactivates the bomb and saves the day. But here's the fucked up thing, though. Mr. White gets away. Yeah, he says something about, "We'll meet again, Spider-Man," and then flies away in the helicopter, and that's the last we ever see of him. But I guess, since he didn't get his ransom money, and he didn't get to nuke LA, even though he didn't get caught, he's still lost? But I don't think that's satisfactory. This guy was willing to nuke a city for financial gain. He is a complete psychopath. He is an absolute menace, and he is still out there terrorizing us to this day.
To this day!
You know, now that I think about it, the edible I ate when I first watched this may have been what contributed most to my enjoyment of it. But I was dead sober when I watched Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, so I can still confidently say that it is hands down the best superhero movie to this day.
To this day!